Hey there, my Powerbook 3 fans. It's your girl Barbie J here, and we are talking about Raising Kanan Season 2, Episode 4, Pay the Toll. That's right, and it starts with Rock. And, her peeps are driving a truck full of drugs into the Italians' territory in New Jersey. Was it Newark, New Jersey, I believe it is? And two of the guys with guns, they hijacked the truck, and one of them they beat up the driver real bad and told him nothing comes into Newark without Sal Parcelli getting his piece. And I was like, how the heck do they know that that truck has drugs in it? What do they say? Every truck that has a black person driving, they stop it. I mean, like, I was trying to understand, you know. Anyway, then they showing Cartier. He talking art with Rock and trying to sound all intellectual, and she lets him know that she got his number. She's like, so stop playing games. So she kind of figures it out, because she was trying to figure out what's he doing here with this art gallery. This ain't her thing, and she don't think it's his thing. And she figures out and learns that Cartier is washing his money through his art gallery. And he said, you know what, Rock, you a quick study. He said, I like that about you, amongst other things. And then he puts out his hand, and she took his hand, and they walked off. And I said, wait a minute, is Rock about to give Cartier a little her coochie coochie? I was wondering, is she going to give him some coochie coochie, some love thing? I don't know. Anyway, then we got Kanan going to the prison to visit his Uncle Vernon, which is supposed to be DEFCON's brother, trying to learn about his father and asking if he's definitely his father. And his uncle snapped and said, what the F you just asked me? Who the F you think gonna be your daddy? Is Rock Ting somebody else your daddy? I mean, he went off, and he's like, nah. Anyway, then he told Kanan that he reminds him of death. He got his same eyes and heart. You know, he would come up in this prison like this and question me to man to my face and all this stuff, he said. Then Kanan had to leave, and his uncle asked the 16-year-old Kanan to put some money in his commissary. I said, no, this man didn't. You cussed him out. You didn't even know who he was, and now you want him, a high school student, put some money in your commissary. I said, Lord, anyway. Kanan gets into the car with Marvin, who was annoyed that he had to bring Kanan there in the first place, and asked him, did he learn anything that he didn't already know? And Kanan really couldn't answer. And then Marvin gives him a quick speech about his mother who loves him, about family who's there for him, and then they drive off. Then we have Lou. He comes into the studio, and the mixing board equipment stuff is gone, and Crown is acting like it's nothing. He's sitting there with a bowl of food, eating something, I don't know if it's beans or cereal or whatever. And he said, yeah, I had to get rid of it to pay off some of these expenses we had. Just relax. You know, I'm in talks with something. And Lou turned around and pushed Crown up against the wall and slapped that bowl out of his hand and told him, he had his arm up under his neck, and Crown didn't know what to do. And he told him, I am relaxed. I said, oh, snaps. I said, oh, okay. And so then, what happened? We see, he said, just don't get me agitated. Then we see Laverne. She in Harlem at her mama's apartment, which is actually, y'all, 3 blocks over from where I actually live here. And she goes in and sits down, then asks her mother, Kenya, why she left her. The mother was surprised that she was there, but she let her in. And her mother explained what happened. She was scared, and then went to California and thought she was going to be a big star and figured she'd get rich and come back and get her, her. But she said things just didn't work out that way, how she had planned, And she said next thing she knows, 10 years had passed, and she thought it was be worse if she showed up in her life now than from when she left her. So Laverne said it wouldn't have been worse. But she also told Laverne that as she held her hand that, it's God's grace which brought her to her home, and she isn't asking Laverne for forgiveness, but she's just asking her for a chance. So that was that. We got Rock, Lou, and Marvin inside one of their apartment spots, and she asked Kanan to go in the room and watch TV while they talk, and it smells real bad in there. They like spraying air freshener all up in there, and y'all know why that is, because dumbass Marvin put a dead body in the wall. You had to know it was going to stink at some point, someday, and especially in the heat, any kind of heat. Anyway, so they keep spraying the air freshener, and Kanan goes into the room. They put him in there. He's supposed to be watching TV and it stinks, and he's in the closet and he sees some sneaker boxes. So he's opening them up, checking them out. And then one of the boxes had a whole bunch of money in it, and Kanan took him a stack. And what we later find out, it was about $600 he took. So meanwhile, they're in the other room discussing what happened with the hijacked truck, and Rock wants to set up a meeting with them, the Italians, adding that ain't nobody gonna tell her where she can and cannot do business. Not the Italians and not neither of you, talking to Marvin and Lou, because they trying to tell her maybe you need to lay back, learn the players, and she wasn't trying to hear that. She don't listen to nobody. Now we see Unique coming into the bodega, and he scares Liliana, but then leaves and crosses the street and walks over to Worrell, who is sitting in a car, and he says something to Unique. And that quick interaction, I'm telling y'all right now, is making me think that Worrell is back working with Unique and trying to help him with some dirt against Rock and them. Then later on outside, Lou's asking Rock for money for his studio, and she says okay. Then walks over to Kanan, who asks her why she wanted him to kill that cop. She gives him some BS story, as Rock always do. And honestly, I don't think that Kanan believed her story or whatever she told him. Then we got Jukebox going home to get some dresses out of her bedroom closet. You know, she surveys the room. She's looking around, I guess, remembering what happened in there the last time she was there with her dad. She grabs some stuff, turns around, and runs into Marvin. And he tries to talk to her, but she walks past him and leaves. So now we have Rock, Marvin, and Lou. They go into New Jersey to meet with Sal, and he's there with 8 other guys, and it's just the 3 of them. And he gives Rock a dollar amount, which he calls is the cost for her to do, for her, she has to pay for her doing business in Newark. And she was like, I don't see you posted up in no projects. And he said, just because you don't see me there doesn't mean I'm not there. So Rock balls up that piece of paper with the number on it and throws it down on the ground, saying she rejects it, and she walks away. And Sal turned around, looking at his boys, and said he kind of likes her. And then Rock gets back to the car and gets on Lou for speaking for her. Lou made a good point, though, about these mafia guys, which Marvin should have backed him up on, but he said nothing, you know, because he's saying they're different than these little drug dealers out and around our way. The mafia is a whole different story. Then again, now we got Kanan. He used that money that he stole to throw Famous a party for his new apartment that Crown helped him get. And so all of a sudden, you know, I guess the music is playing loud, and a neighbor comes by to suggest they turn the music down because another neighbor might complain. And who's the neighbor coming with her daughter? None other than KJ Smith playing Paloma. And her daughter is, she's the mother of a young girl named Corinne, they're saying. And they're the neighbors. So she allows her daughter to go in and join the party. But when she's leaving, you know, because Kanan can't believe it. She looks just as young as her daughter. He thought it was her sister. And so as she's leaving, he looking at her, and she gave Kanan this look like, I wouldn't mind having you inside of me. I mean, I'm just saying, that's the look that it looked like the mother gave. But she let her daughter go in there and everything. So Detective Howard, he in there having sex with a hooker, and he tells her he just found out that he has a son about the same age as her son, and she tells him to be in his son's corner and said to let him know that he's his daddy. We got Jukebox. She getting ready to go to Famous party, and Rock pops in and asks her if she's seen Kanan, and she tells her about Famous's apartment by Rochdale, and she's like, how Famous get an apartment? We got money for that. And she said Crown hooked him up with a connect. She said, yeah, Crown seemed to be connected with everyone, Rock said. Then she told Rock that she saw her mother because she tracked her down. But honey, let me tell you, the words that Rock spoke to Jukebox about that were a bit negative, if you ask me. Not one bit uplifting or happy for her that she saw her mother. Not even that. She didn't even ask Jukebox how she felt about it. Damn, Rock, you's a trifling mother. You know, I'm just saying. Then we have what's his name? Worrell is catching flack from Marvin because $600 is missing. Kanan took it, and he slipped. Worrell slipped and said, you know, that how he put the money in there, he counted himself and put it in the shoe box and stuff, because that's what he used to do with Unique when we needed money during the day. And Marvin was like, Neek, You work for us, mother effer. You work for us. And he reminds Worrell about that. And now Marvin thinks someone is skimming off the top. But we know it's Kanan, but they don't. Then we got Jukebox arriving at a famous spot and finds Kanan getting high and making out with Corinne. Then Crown comes by and Juke wants to walk past him, but he stops her and hands her a cassette tape with a song on it he thinks she'll love. And so anyway, then we have Lou and Cartier. They're in the studio toasting to the new mixing board that they got because, you know, Crown playing games. And then Cartier gave Lou some good advice to move forward, you know, because Lou was saying he feel like he's being blocked and stopped by different people. We got Juliana. She lets Rock know that Unique came into that store again. And Rock tells her, you know, it's just, you know, strategy and a game they're playing. And Juliana is like, well, I'm not playing your game. And Rock looks at her, puts on her shades and walks right past her out the store. I said, damn, Rock. She just ignored her. Then we got Jukebox. Tells Kanan that her mother asked her to go to church with her on Sunday. And Kanan asked her, oh, yeah, that's right. How did it go when you saw her? Something that Rock didn't even do, right? And Juke says, you know, what kind of mother leaves her baby? And Kanan said, Kanan said, one who has Marvin as the father. I said, oh, my God, that's so funny. But then, you know, then Juke describes her experience and how it felt, you know. We got Rock is with Symphony looking at a new house, and he asks her, why did she reach out to him? And she mentioned him doing that, you know, that urban planning, and it may be of helpful to her, you know, while she's looking. Then he asked her, what does she really want from him? And she gave him some weak reply, and he asked her about the night that she asked him to take Kanan out of state, and she gave him another plain ass answer, you know, that she wanted to answer. And then the last thing that Symphony said to Rock was to stop calling him and pulling him back to her. He said, please leave me alone. If you do care about me, and I believe you do, let me go and move on with my life. And Symphony reminded her about something. Ooh, this was deep, this part. He reminded her that once she told him he was like a vacation to her. And he let her know that I didn't want to be your vacation. I wanted to be your home. God! Don't get hot. Lord, that was hot. I was like, oh, shooky now. I was loving that. And what was the last couple of things that happened? Detective Burt, he visits Unique and questions him about a couple of things. You know, she questions him about a couple of things, but of course it doesn't faze Unique at all. You know, his responses and his sexual in the windows, you know, were like so comical. I was cracking up. And she was trying to find out if he had any info on who framed him. And, you know, the fact that if that was her, she'd be wanting to get payback and all this stuff. And he was like just ignoring her. He wouldn't answer anything. He knew how to handle her. So then she left saying she'll be keeping an eye on him. Then we have Marvin and Worrell packing drugs into the yellow school bus, which also gets jacked once in New Jersey. They didn't beat up Worrell. He just put up his hands when they had the shotgun and got off the bus, and he was all calm and cool and chewing his gum and watched as they drove off. And I don't know, the look on his face, he didn't have no concern or anything. And for some reason, I feel that Unique is or was behind that jacket. I think somehow this was a fake jacket, and these were two white guys who probably didn't have nothing to do with the Italian guy. I don't know. I just think it's a setup. That one is. And then it ended with Kanan leaving the house and telling Rock he was going to Famous's. And she said, be careful. And he said, I always do. And then she watched him walk out, you know, she was peeking out the window, watching him leave. And he ends up going to Detective Howard's house. And I was like, oh, snap. And Detective Howard looks surprised to see him and motions his head for Kanan to come inside. And who is in their car around the corner but Rock? She followed him and saw the whole thing. So that's how this episode went down. I hope y'all like it. Let me know if I missed anything. I know I'm still 2 episodes behind, but I'm trying to play catch up, y'all. And for those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel, please take a moment now, hit that subscribe button, and support my channel. I can use all your help. This your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.